In this video, we're going to go over the manipulation of cellular metabolism using carbohydrate manipulation. How can you lose 50, 60, 70, even 100 pounds eating more food? This is going to be an entire metabolic priming study going over how it's possible, how it works, the pro-metabolic diet, and then how we can raise our energy flux using carbohydrates. So in the video, we're going to go through a client case study of my client Mike, who dropped 71 pounds eating more food. We're going to go over the pro-metabolic diet and the overall basis of raising your caloric intake to meet energy demands. We're going to go through a lot of stuff around like your metabolism, how calories are burned, and then understanding the conclusion with carbohydrates and why it's possible and how it's even possible to raise your food intake and lose more weight. We're going to go over our industry-leading method, we call it metabolic priming, and then I'm going to show you what this looks like with my client Mike here. And I'm going to walk you through step by step how we actually were able to get him down 71 pounds. And so if you guys don't know me by now, my name's Adam Bunnell. I'm an online metabolic specialist, and I specialize in the manipulation of cellular metabolism through correct nutritional pathways, optimizing hormonal profiles using nutrition, and then optimizing energy pathways using the bioenergetic approach. And so we're going to go through a lot of good stuff today, and I'm really excited to get this going. But first of all, I want you guys to hear from Mike himself, because yes, he's down 71 pounds eating more food. And I know you're thinking right now, like, there's no way, that's not possible. But I want you to hear from him yourself.
Crazy as it sounds, it works.
What was your starting weight?
262.
What do you weigh right now?
195.
Dude, Mike.
Don't be skeptical. Make the jump and do it. It will pay off so much in the end. So I wanted to hit 230. We blew by 230 in several weeks, and then 200 became the next goal, and we hit that. Now, next goal is coming up. It's a miracle. You gotta try it. You got to live it. You got to just do it.
So yes, he's down 71 pounds eating more food, and here's how it's possible. So we're going to go over something called what's called the pro-metabolic diet. And where this actually stems from, and where a lot of my research stems from, is Dr. Ray Peat. So Dr. Ray Peat is uses a bioenergetic approach to fat loss by raising energy intake and raising what's called energy flux. So on his website, to get a little bit of understanding of what he actually does, a variety of health problems examined, like infertility, epilepsy, dementia, diabetes, premenstrual syndrome, and the therapeutic use of progesterone, pregnenolone, and thyroid and coconut oil are frequently discussed. My approach gives priority to environmental influences in development, regenerative process, and an evolutionary perspective. When biophysics and biochemistry and physiology are worked in a comprehensive view of the organism, it appears that degenerative processes are caused by defects in our overall environment. And so what he means by this is that what he means by this is the environment he's discussing is when we start to get into very low calorie amounts and it starts to be detrimental to our organs, right? So the defects in our environment is metabolic changes due to under eating, right? So there's a process that happens within your diet that actually reduces your caloric expenditure based upon where your current food intake is. So what it's called metabolic adaptation, and here's how it works. It's like as you start to undereat, your body goes through hormonal changes to actually savor calories. It wants to savor the calories because it's going into what's called more of a starvation mode. That's why guys, they hit this plateau and they just can't get past it, and then they just end up getting the weight back because they've lowered and crashed their metabolism over time, which now puts you in a position for that rapid weight gain. And so not only is it a result of this, but the environmental changes that actually do occur as well, leads to a lot of these health complications that we see in today's society, like insulin resistance, heart disease, blood sugar regulation, because basically you're downregulating the processes to keep the organs functional and keep the organs healthy, because the calories that you don't eat need to be taken from somewhere. And so the body is going to conserve the most important part that actually keeps you alive. And if we break down the BMR by organ for just a 80 kilogram male, we can find that your body burns a lot of calories just keeping you alive. Your liver burns 300 calories, your brain burns 360, your heart 163, and then even a big one, your muscle tissue, right? Skeletal muscle tissue is so important for regulating your BMR and regulating metabolic activity. And that's what happens with a lot of these guys go on very restrictive diets is they start down-regulating the processes that want to keep their body upright and keep their body functioning correctly, and they lose muscle tissue, which puts them in an even worse position to gain that body fat back, because your essential body functions make up 60-70% of your entire metabolism. This is where we focus. This is where the biogenic approach, where the pro-metabolic approach, where the raising energy flux, metabolic priming, this is where it all stems from, is a healthy basal metabolic rate. Burning more calories at rest using your body to our advantage. And when you do this properly, you can lose more weight eating more food because we are giving the body the energy it needs to survive, to function properly. And so understanding that, like, focusing on your basal metabolic rate is most important. And when it comes to Dr. Ray Peat, once again, he was he researched a lot of the human bodies and hormones since 1960. He passed away in 2020. But his biggest accomplishments were studying hormones affecting energy expenditure and weight loss. Peat started researching progesterone in 1968 and later explored other endocrine hormones such as thyroid and estrogen, which led to the creation of the Dr. Ray Peat diet. So the Dr. Ray Peat diet is a set of eating rules to reach metabolic health and hormonal balance through pro-metabolic dietary changes. According to his website, Peat believes avoiding carbohydrates can disrupt thyroid function and other endocrine systems. So carbohydrates are one of the most important macronutrients in this diet. Unlike many other popular diets, like you guys have heard, the carnivore, keto, paleo, the Dr. Ray Peat diet allows sugar, whether natural fruits from juice or honey, or industrial sources like soda, as they're claimed to be insulin activators, right? So the theory behind the consuming the sugar is that body uses glucose to do cellular functions. Ray Peat himself consumed over 1,600 calories a day from carbohydrates. So you guys have heard of the popular sugar diet. So what we use is metabolic priming is a kind of a structural offset to the Dr. Ray Peat diet. It's not like exactly the same, and I'm going to show you why. But there's a lot of things that I've taken out of this diet particularly that has led to the success of so much of our clients. And because he mentions right here, carbohydrates can disrupt thyroid function, and that's 100% true. They've done multiple studies on the amount of carbohydrates in your diet is directly linked to your levels of T3, a thyroid hormone. High carb diets are associated with higher T3 levels. Low carb diets are associated with low T3 levels. And so they've done even studies of the effect of caloric restrictive dietary composition of serum T3 and reverse T3 in men. We conclude that dietary carbohydrates is an important regulatory factor of T3. So T3 is the active thyroid hormone that is transverted from T4. So as you start to reduce carbohydrates, you start to reduce levels of T3 in your body. And then we get into like more of the hormonal approach, is that we understand like hormonal regulation and muscle building plays a significant role in insulin, hormonal balance. Like carbohydrate intake stimulates the release of insulin. Insulin is an anabolic hormone that helps shuttle nutrients into the muscles, which is crucial for muscle repair and growth. Consuming adequate carbs, maintain balance of hormone levels, including lower levels of cortisol, which a ton of our clients come to us with very high levels of cortisol and inflammation from extremely restrictive diets. So the key takeaway is like while protein is the main building block of the muscle, carbohydrates are essential fuel that powers the process and helps ensure that protein is used for growth rather than energy. Consuming the right amount of carbohydrates, especially from complex carbs, provides sustainable energy, helps replenish glycogen storage, and supports the anabolic processes needed for muscle gain. So we're starting to see the overall compounding effect of a higher carbohydrate diet and what it does from an energy perspective. And what we can look at this is what I call, and a lot of people call in the industry, raising one's energy flux, right? So what is energy flux? Energy flux refers to the overall rate of energy turnover in the body, encompassing the intake, expenditure, and storage of energy. It is a critical concept in weight management, as maintaining body weight often requires a high energy flux with increased physical activity, which promotes a greater sensitivity between energy intake and energy expenditure. A higher energy flux means more energy is being processed and utilized through the body. Okay, so let me pull this all together for you so you can understand the Dr. Ray Peat diet, hormonal imbalances, carbohydrates, and energy flux. So what we're doing is we're basically increasing the amount of energy that is that's flowing through the body. So like having a higher carbohydrate intake and implementing just simple, walking steps or like a strength training program, we can increase the energy flux. So a low energy flux, let's say 2,000 calories in versus 2,000 calories out, is not only detrimental to metabolic processes as that you start to decline and degrade the overall amount of calories flowing through your system at once, but it also leads to the degradation of a lot of essential organs, right? So the conclusion with the pro-metabolic diet, with the bioenergetic approach and metabolic priming, is consuming carbohydrates is extremely in support of health. The idea behind this, the primary driver in health, is efficiency of energy production. When we have a lot of available energy in our organs are able to function at optimal capacity. When we don't have as much energy available, we have to turn down the function of various organ systems and functions that lead to degeneration. This is where you see insulin resistance. This is where you see blood sugar issues. This is where you see lack of muscle tissue. This is where you see, heart disease. All these diseases start to come because we're under eating or we're not eating the correct amount. Because carbohydrates, they improve your metabolism by acting as that primary fuel source, with the digestive process requiring energy to break down food and usable glucose. Primary energy source are carbohydrates, which the body prefers and primary source of energy for all cells, including the brains and muscles. So we notice that the organ diagram I showed you guys, how the brain and the liver and muscles just take up a bunch of calories. Well, if we give the body a highly available energy source like carbohydrates, we can increase the energy flux, we can meet a lot of health demands, and we can also repair and replenish a lot of mitochondrial function. So when I say mitochondrial function, is that the mitochondria within your cells actually stimulate and predict whether to store or use fat. So if we can manipulate the mitochondria at the cellular level to burn more energy, burn more fat, to burn more fuel, we can get the body to burn more energy as a whole, and even the thermic effect of food for digestive purposes, right? So how do we pull this all together and understand the process that I've came up with our clients that has led to almost over 1,000 men transformations, right? We've worked with, as a company, we've worked with over 1,000 people within our organization, in the last 5 years, and using this exact approach. But I want to let you to understand what their approach is and how it works. So metabolic priming is the manipulation of cellular metabolism, all stemming from Dr. Ray Peat, energy flux, macronutrients, protein, and building muscle, and how it affects from a hormonal approach. So turning the body into food storage mode and to stimulate the BMR to turn energy burning mode. Reduction of oxidative stress and inflammation by repairing hormones through higher level nutrition strategies. Focus on raising BMR, manipulating the cellular metabolism through pH, O2 levels, nutrient availability to stimulate the metabolism. So metabolic priming for fat loss is basically what we can call like the initial diet before the diet, a phase where you gradually increase your calories, energy flux, and focus on building the muscle through resistance training to improve your metabolism and your body's ability to burn fat for energy. Basically, we're building a foundation, right? We're structuring the body correctly. We're fixing a lot of hormones. We're fixing a lot of cortisol. We're fixing a lot of inflammation. Because if these never get fixed first, your body will quite literally restrict you from losing body fat. So that is the first thing that we need to solve. It's like, how and do we fix these processes and line the body for long-term success within fat loss? Increase calories and protein. Focus on resistance training so we're building a good foundation. As we mentioned, there's a lot of calories that get burned within having more muscle tissue. And then improve metabolic efficiency. This phase teaches your body to burn fuel efficiently, making it ready to effectively use fat for energy when you eventually cut calories. Why metabolic priming is effective: boosts metabolism, preserves muscle tissue, sustainable fat loss, prepares for your deficit. So metabolic priming is a very research subject that I've used and kind of tailored it to my clients in a way of all of the research I've done within Dr. Ray Peat, within other biochemists, and just kind of put it all into one really predictable mechanism with metabolic priming, right? And it is a research approach. It's not just like some, fad diet you see online, like keto, carnivore, whatever it may be. Like, this is a scientific approach to actually losing body fat. So it's a predictable fat loss success because it involves optimizing body's hormone balances, metabolic efficiency before starting a diet to prevent the negative effects of metabolic adaptation. And we talked about metabolic adaptation leading to a lot of fat regain, also leading to a lot of hormonal imbalances. And so we want to make sure to correct all those first. By maintaining a higher caloric intake for the body's metabolic rate and hormone signals like leptin and ghrelin, like the hunger hormones, are kept in a healthy state, which makes the subsequent calorie more effective and sustainable. So you guys are in like severe calorie deficits. You're at the 15 to 2,000 mark, and you can't lose weight. You're just starving all the time. This should be an eye-opener for you, because what's happening is not only you're degrading your metabolism, but you're skyrocketing essential hormones that will actually lead to sustainability. And we need to understand this through this process. So pre-diet stabilization, hormonal balance, metabolic rate maintenance, adaptation prevention, and it's just easier to, first of all, it's easier to adhere to rather than cutting carbohydrates. And like, we use a higher carbohydrate diet, we still use fats. It's the easiest thing to absolutely use. It's the easiest thing to follow because you don't have to restrict yourself. You can eat what you want as long as we meet some certain macronutrient demands. And, you don't have to worry about going out to that dinner and then shooting 10 pounds up because you ate some carbohydrates and your body wasn't prepared for carbohydrates. So it leads to more sustainable fat loss. So in 2024, our organization got awarded 4th out of 400,000 different online training programs for our approach and the sustainable progress that we make as a organization. You can search it it's called on Trainerize, ABC Trainerize. Search 2024 awards. Scroll down, you'll see Elevation Athletics. So reduce weight regain. So the problem with today's society is not losing weight. People are actually really damn good at losing weight. The problem is weight regain. And so we need to understand that the problem isn't weight loss. The problem is keeping weight off. So keep following these diets that aren't sustainable long term and keep you gaining the weight back, you're essentially just wasting your time. And yes, this approach that we use is a little bit slower than, this traditional keto diet, but you make hard food rules, you make hard consequences. You want to do it right once and then never have to worry about it again. That's what we teach. We teach education. We teach our clients how to sustain it. We set our clients up for long-term success, even after we're done working together. We have a ton of guys come from other programs that must not be named that are at top of the industry and say, yeah, they just kept us around trying to re-sign us every time. Well, we shake the hands with our clients who, make amazing progress and now learn. I do group calls on Sundays with my clients in this particular fashion to teach them this stuff and make sure they're absorbing it and understanding it, because it is now more imperative than ever than each one of you watching this right now learns this type of stuff, because the industry, the food industry, nutrition industry isn't going to change for you. You're going to have to change and educate yourself for it because it's getting worse. And you know this. It's not a secret. But in essence, metabolic priming is a strategic preparatory phase that optimizes the body's internal environment, make it more receptive and capable of achieving fat loss through subsequent caloric diet, right? So how do we put this all together? And I want to show you what this looks like in an active case study. Client Mike, 51 years old, 71 pounds down, eating more food, okay? What does this look like? So key strategies for metabolic priming: track the calories, prioritize protein intake, implements resistance training, focus on whole foods, optimize non-energy activity thermogenesis, which is steps we put in our clients' plans, adequate sleep to make sure we're having adequate hormones, and then manage stress, right? All those are super, super important. But the thing is, guys, is our clients don't have to worry about this. That's our job. We worry about that. Our clients just wake up and implement. Because if you're somebody who's been searching for information, you haven't even gotten to the implementation phase. If you're searching for information, you're trying another thing that hasn't worked for you once again, you're still in the information searching phase, right? Our clients come to us, invest a little bit of money, and we give them the clarity to just go and implement, right? Which is a lot smarter for a lot of my clients being aged 40 to 60 years old, for them to just invest a little bit of money, get the correct information once, and solve the problem once, rather than spending their remaining years unsure, right? So keep that in mind. Like, you can pay for things in two separate ways: time trying to figure it out, or invest a little bit of money to get the correct higher level help. And I want to implement that, and I want to help you guys understand that, is because there's so many guys out there struggling in silent despair, not understanding what type of diet to use. The industry's throwing them that new sugar diet that your friends said, oh, this keto's worked me for a while. Well, like, over time, what they're doing is actually degrading their entire metabolism. They're crashing their hormones, and it's because they don't know the right way. And yes, I'm sure eventually you guys search my channel enough that you will find the right way and you'll find something that works for you. But I can't promise you it's going to be within the next month, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years. And why would you go and do that when you can simply get it done right the first time? Okay? So Mike came to me. His goal was 190. His goal was actually 230, but I pushed him. I was like, dude, you can do way more than 230. So he's like, okay, like eventually 190. Feel better, have better mobility. He actually came to us with 2 shoulder rotator cuff tears. So a lot of you guys sitting here listening to this with an injury and just waiting on it to heal, keep this in mind. Like, my clients, like, the reason why they make such good progress is because they're action takers. Is because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. They want the correct information first, and they want to start implementing on day one. No matter the injuries, no matter time management, no matter what everybody else says, my clients are high-level dudes, right? So Mike came to me with 2 double rotator cuff tears. He's like, dude, I don't care. Like we can help, like, because obviously we help him with the rotator cuffs. But he's like, dude, I don't care. Like, I just want to get this done now. Like, I need to get this done now. Weight is causing mobility issues. So, like, his weight was causing more issues with his shoulders, with his joints. We needed to get this weight off him as soon as possible. Is then he's eating healthy but doesn't know what macros to hit. His calories are 2,000, and I noted, like, in his action steps, we need to get Mike into a structured macro profile to help improve metabolic health, to get his body burn more food, set him with structured protein goals, set him with a fat cap, then start to work carbohydrates up, getting his body adapt to carbohydrate metabolism, customize his training program to help him work into training but monitor his shoulder injuries, monitor body weight and shoulder injuries weekly, all right? So he started at 249. Actually, he started at 265, right? He came to me a week before his actual start date when he was at 265. But this is, like, I guess, technically the first note we have of him. We got him all down to 192. So, yeah, we were able to hit his goal. And he's still in our program right now. He's still working. But I want you guys to understand what the metabolic priming phase is for. So Mike came to us eating 2,000 calories. Hit a weight loss plateau. His metabolism is obviously shot, right? So, like, why I know his metabolism is shot is because he's eating 2,000 calories and he's not losing weight. It's pretty simple. And, like, yeah, most people will say, like, oh, I'm going to try to lose some weight. And so they take their 2,000 calories and drop them to 1,500. Well, now you're just fighting against even more inflammation, and now you're just putting yourself in a worse position. And that's it's just going to lead to detriment effect to your body, to cortisol, to everything. So what do we have to do? We have to raise the energy flux. We have to heal his body through higher level energy metabolic flux, right? So what we do is basically our goal is to slowly get him up, right? Okay? And what happens as we slowly get him in calories? We're slowly improving metabolism. So this is how it looks like structurally. So he started off right here at 250, 260, somewhere around there. And as time goes on, we just give him correct macros, right? We need to get correct macros into his plan, just for him because we need to utilize macronutrient profiles for structuring of hormones, right? So all we did each week, 25 grams of carbohydrates. We added a little bit of protein right here. We added a little bit of carbs. And you can just see, as the weeks go on, we just add a little bit of carbs. And I want to note is that we don't just add carbohydrates each and every week. We analyze the data from week to week, and we make subsequent changes based upon data analytical decisions, right? We monitor his weight, his body composition, his health, how he's sleeping, obviously his weight, yes, even like how his strength's going in the gym. Because one thing to note is that, like we mentioned, more muscle tissue means that we burn more calories, right? And so we're able to get him up all the way to 3,300 calories. Yeah, 3,300 calories. All right. So this is 1,300 more calories per day. All right? 1,300 more calories a day. But here's the crazy part. He is down to 223. 223. Eating more food. He's down 25 pounds eating more food, eating 1,300 more calories, right? And that's what happens when we're trying to raise that energy flux and get a lot of energy flowing through his body. His body starts to work. His metabolism starts to work better. And so this is what he looked like, after our metabolic priming phase, right? Got him down 25, 30 pounds eating more food, all right? Now, we have aligned the body correctly. We got him to 3,200 calories. We've optimized basal metabolic rate. Now what can we do? Now we can actually structure him into a fat loss phase, a correlated advanced fat loss phase where we're monitoring cortisol, we're monitoring progress, we're monitoring inflammation, and we're making subsequent changes to calories and macronutrients based upon those variables. So our goal is now implement a little bit of cardio, lower a little bit of food, wait a little bit, read the data. When he checks in, maybe roll a little bit, and then raise a little bit more. And then, what we do is we analyze the data. Over time, we know that a metabolic adaptation does occur just from lowering calories. So, your metabolism will start to fall just ever so slightly, but you'll see how we put actually refeed days, diet breaks, and how we mitigated certain bodily functions with cortisol and inflammation by changing these ever so slightly. So let me show you how this would look like in a correlated fat loss phase. So the first thing we did is we dropped him 2,900 calories. The next drop we did was 2,500 calories. And he just started to just lose a tremendous amount of weight extremely, extremely fast. So we'd raise steps a little bit. Steps, the non-energy activity thermogenesis, remember that. We added a little bit of cardio. He's doing 4 times cardio per week. And then we gave him a refeed right here, right? So we gave him a small refeed right here because we want to make sure to keep thyroid activity high. We would take cardio out ever so slightly and lower some food. And then we would lower the food even a little bit more. And we got them down to 1,900 calories. And then we added a little bit of cardio right here. A little bit less protein, 1,800 calories. We actually got them down pretty severe to 1,600 calories. But we actually cut back, right? So this is what's called a diet break for us, is that we put a diet break in here. And what we did is we add carbohydrates for a week, added food, cut all cardio, and just let the body completely reset, completely repair hormones, completely reduce inflammation, and completely reduce cortisol. And these are the type of decisions that we make as coaches when we see certain things that need to align. And it's due to certain things that when he checks in, we read all the data that goes alongside of these photos that you check in each week, and we make correlated data-driven decisions. So he gets 2,150, 2,200, he's still losing weight now, right? And on the 25th, keep in mind, he's now up from 1,600 calories to 2,200 calories. He hits a new all-time low weigh-in of 192, right? And you guys want to see where Mike is today, because here's what happens, right? And as we're building muscle tissue, we're building the foundation, yes, but let's say over time, eventually due to metabolic adaptation, our metabolism starts to lower once again. What do? As you can just see what I did with Mike. We'll cut cardio a little bit, and we'll add a little bit of food to raise his metabolism a little bit. And this might be just a week or 2 weeks long to restore metabolic function, and we'll just get him up a little bit more. And then when we start to build a little bit more muscle tissue, we can go back into a deficit, now having more calories attached. So I'll show you what Mike checked in looking like today. All right, so Mike sent me this photo the other night. He's a late night guy. He likes to work out late night at the gym. But this is the photo that he sent. Look how much more muscle tissue he has. Do we have progress to be made? Absolutely. And that's exactly what we're doing. But he's down 71 pounds. He's not starving. He's comfortable. And his gym sessions are going very well. What are we about to do with him now? Once again, after we get him back up a little bit in calories, we're going to go back into a fat loss phase. And, this is how you see 100-pound, 120-pound transformations within our program, is understanding this approach. I mean, we have guys down 120 pounds, 125 pounds, 70 pounds down, 100 pounds, 66 pounds down. all using this structured approach. 140 pounds down, 47 pounds down, 48 pounds down, and even 57 pounds down. Like using this exact approach is understanding hormone function, metabolic tendencies, mitochondrial function, understanding metabolic pathways, and understanding raising energy flux. Oh, here's another one. 120 pounds down. So it's like we're really damn good at what we do, transparently, truthfully. But it's because we've been doing it for so long and we've dealt with so many different types of clients, body compositions, as that we use a predictable approach with industry-leading experts actually understanding what changes need to be made in a certain sense that they need to be made. Okay. So, anyways, if you are somebody who has been struggling to lose weight, and you kind of hit that end point where you're eating 1,500, 2,000 calories, and you're purposely trying to not eat. Like, how much easier would this be? How much easier would it be to eat more, lose weight, feel comfortable, and to actually keep the weight off long term? Like, just answer me that. And how much easier would it be to have a day-by-day plan, a week-by-week plan with weekly adjustments, weekly tweaks based upon progress made? This is the reason why we see the best client success in the industry. We have a 97.42 client success rate. We've had over 1,000 transformations, and using this approach, that's why we are the industry leader in the metabolic field. So if you've been someone who has been struggling for some time, and you want to get down in weight, you want to reduce all the belly fat, you want to reduce all the visceral fat, and you want to get back to feeling like you used to when you were 20 years old, 30 years old, there's going to be a link down below. There's going to be a video that underlines metabolic priming in the program that we run. And, sign up for a time, right? Because you are one decision away from a brand new body. And all it takes is that one commitment. So I hope you like this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.